This really needs a stir. Hello, welcome to the Q&A. We have a fall drink today. This is a iced apple crisp oat milk macchiato, though it doesn't say oat milk, so did they forget the oat milk? Probably. Welcome in to my first ever Q&A. I've been looking forward to doing my first Q&A since small me first had a dream of making a YouTube channel. I asked you guys for questions on my community tab and you guys came through. I'm gonna let myself just be chatty and get personal. This one's for you guys. We're just gonna be hanging out, drinking a fall beverage, and answering some questions. Very fun. I love that I'm filming this on a gloomy day in LA too. Like there is rainy, cloudy vibes outside and it just feels fitting for like a fall Q&A. I let you guys ask literally whatever you wanted. There was absolutely no topic or guidance. So we have questions all across the board from lifestyle to career to YouTube. So let's go ahead and dive in. What has been your favorite part about moving to LA? Did anything surprise you that you weren't expecting? Okay, my favorite parts of moving / living in LA. Number one is probably just being surrounded by other creative people. I feel like the energy here is really inspiring. And I love that you can like go to a Starbucks and the person next to you will be talking about like a movie deal or an acting audition or some script they're working on. It's just cool energy to be surrounded by and it makes you motivated. It makes you want to work on projects and things. It also is like a pool of people that I'd be very interested in being friends with. I just feel like I connect with those people on kind of a different level and we can relate on like our creative journeys. So it's been really cool that that is a lot of the people that are here. Obviously the weather, I love the weather here. I think it's perfect. I've always loved summer. I've always been a big fan of heat. So moving to LA was kind of a no-brainer in that aspect. It's not as brutally hot as it is stereotyped to be. A lot of times it's pretty temperate, comfortable weather. Even in the winters, it's like cozy, but you don't need to wear like coats. Also, I just feel like there's a lot of cool like events that happen here, you know, whether it's brands having like cool pop-up stores, movie type events. It's fun that there's all of these kind of opportunities and events and things. That's definitely something that I want to take advantage of more in the future. In terms of anything that surprised me, I would say the biggest surprise has been just how peaceful and calm of a life I've been able to build for myself here. I think I had this vision of my life in LA being like that classic city stereotypical life, but especially because of the neighborhood I ended up picking, my day-to-day is actually very calm, chill, and just really like cozy and nice. I've really grown to love that about it, and it's not something I would have expected when I pictured like moving to a big city. Also, I feel like I generally stay within my general area of Los Angeles, like my side of the city, which I wasn't entirely expecting. I guess I thought I would be more like going to different areas, going downtown more, and I couldn't even tell you the last time I went downtown. I very much stayed to like the few neighborhoods around me, and I like it that way, but I don't think I would have expected that. Where do you see yourself 1 year from now? And is there anything you wish you could tell yourself 5 years ago? As far as where I see myself 1 year from now, this is my first time mentioning this, but in a year's time, I will probably be in the process of moving to Seattle, Washington. So my boyfriend's going to grad school over there. He's doing a PhD, and I'm gonna be probably moving with him, assuming everything goes well. I'll probably be in the moving process. He starts not this fall, but the next fall. So that'll be quite a drastic change. Seattle's not really a place I would have picked for myself, but I'm happy to go to support him and be with him. Obviously gonna try to make the most of it and romanticize Seattle and find things I love there. I know a lot of people love that city, so as I just talked about how much I love LA, I'm a little heartbroken about it, but also I'm excited for the new adventure. More moving content will be coming in like a year. I'm hoping in a year's time, I think I'll still have a full-time job, but I'm hoping I'll be at a point where like YouTube / my own income streams and business is like neck and neck with my job in terms of like money, in terms of my attention. That would be really cool. Definitely a little ambitious to try to get there in a year, but hopefully. Also, if I had to give some like hopes for me a year from now, I hope that I'm like super fit. I would love to have abs in a year. And I hope that I'm just happy and excited about life, achieving things, finding new opportunities, and just really like crafting an amazing life for myself in Seattle. Definitely think I'll be in an adjustment period in a year. If I had to tell myself something 5 years ago, I think I would tell myself to focus on me me, and to not be afraid to be bold and go after the things that I wanted, and to just like really embrace myself, be myself, and do the things that I want to do. 5 years ago, I was like probably a sophomore in college. I was so consumed by my social life, trying to fit into groups that I just had no business trying to fit into. That's the college experience and all, but if I could go back, I'd be like, these things that you have in the back of your mind that you really want to do them. Like, I wish I could go back and tell myself to start YouTube earlier. And I think I was just so wrapped up in wanting to be accepted and loved by my peers that I was neglecting a lot of the parts of myself that I love the most. And yeah, I think I would just try to wake myself up from that a little bit and be like, this is your time to really dial in on who you are and what you want. 5 years ago, me could have just used a little bit of a confidence boost and a reminder that her personality, her interests, who she was valid, and she should just like be herself a little bit more, not worry so much about trying to impress people, I guess. But at the end of the day, I'm glad that I had that kind of like typical college experience. Things might be taking a little bit longer for me because I started a little later, but at the end of the day, like, this is the path and the timeline I'm meant to be on. What brings you the most happiness in life? What a sweet question. So thinking like big picture, I think what makes me the happiest is creating something meaningful or fulfilling. So whether that's writing, working on YouTube, doing a photo shoot. And the second thing is just like very sweet moments of appreciation with the closest people in my life. A lot of just like small day-to-day moments with my boyfriend or my family. I'm a big words of affirmation girl. So that sticks out as something that gives me a lot of happiness, is giving words of affirmation and receiving words of affirmation. On a day-to-day level, I feel like I'm someone who gets a lot of joy out of the little things, whether it's like a delicious breakfast or like a workout. I definitely feel happiest in moments where I feel most connected to myself and my passions and interests, and where I feel connected to my body and I'm taking care of my body. Anytime I feel like in touch with my younger self and just like I can be myself fully, I get a lot of joy out of. When I can just be like carefree and silly and goofy and not give a care in the world. How long have you known your current boyfriend? Do you think he's the one you'll marry? Thank you for asking. So we've known each other for 2.5 years. We've been officially together for a little over 2 years now. We try to always proceed with caution when talking about us getting married, just because at the end of the day, you never know. It's hard to kind of predict how a relationship will go, and I think we try to be realistic about that, but I do kind of think he's the one I'm gonna marry. I can't really imagine being with anyone else. So how do you balance saving for your goals and enjoying yourself? How has your budgeting style evolved since you started budgeting? I don't balance it very well. That's the first thing I'll say. Finances are definitely one of the areas of my life where I feel like I have the most room to improve, which is why I've mentioned that I'm gonna be creating a whole new budget strategy. But in terms of how my budgeting strategy has changed, when I first started budgeting, I very much was doing the traditional approach of like, here's 10 different categories and I'm gonna set amounts for each one. Then I felt like that wasn't overly helpful because of just how much my priorities were changing from month to month. Some months I was spending 0 on clothes, some months I was spending 200, and I was struggling with specific categories. So then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be an intuitive spender. I'm gonna do intuitive budgeting, putting all of my variable expenses together in one giant bucket and just kind of winging it from there. And that I don't think was enough structure or discipline because my spending got a little crazy. So I think going forward, my strategy is gonna be kind of trying to find a middle ground where I am designating a few categories with specific amounts, things that I know are pretty consistent from month to month, like eating out, coffee, and then putting everything that's way less predictable into one giant bucket. Does that make sense? It's gonna kind of be a middle ground between the two strategies. We'll see how it goes. I do think doing more check-ins throughout the month is going to be essential for me to actually stick to a budget. How are you enjoying your time off work? Any insights that you learned about yourself having more free time to reflect? Definitely one thing that I wasn't really expecting to experience was the vulnerability and anxiety that came with having less distraction and, like you said, like way more time to reflect. Obviously, when you strip away a giant structure and a giant distraction from your own thoughts, you might panic a little when suddenly you're face to face with your own thoughts with no buffer and you're like, holy shit, it's just me and my mind is driving me crazy. I did have a little bit of an existential crisis. I do think it led to a few valuable realizations. Definitely my main takeaways were, one, how important it is to focus on my closest relationships. That clarity definitely clicked into place, has me wanting to be a lot more present and active in my relationships. Second realization was just that I want to be more bold and take more risks in my life, as well as I want to do everything I can to be as authentic as I can. Because if I'm not being myself, if I'm not really showing up as the brightest, best version of me, I just feel like I'm doing myself a huge disservice and I'm not living up to my fullest potential. And that would be really sad. I want to be more myself because I'm so filtered, toned down, timid when it comes to just showing myself authentically. That's one of the things I'm most grateful for about this YouTube channel is, I've said this before, I feel like I'm the most myself on here. You guys know me very well, honestly. And that's something I'm so grateful for because it's the place where I feel I can be the most authentic without all of my social anxiety and filtering. But that was a little bit of a tangent. The last little realization that I had from unemployment, my whole crisis, was just how much I want to focus on being more present in my life. I definitely had these like bad feelings around not only the time that I spend on my phone, but more so the time that I spend distracted in my day-to-day life, moments when I'm with someone and I can't fully be there because of the squirrels in my brain. We all suffer from this, right? So I really want to prioritize more mindful practices, journaling, yoga, and especially meditation, quiet down my mind a little bit so that I can really fully be present for all of the beautiful things in my life. I will say I've been shocked by how quickly I adjusted to this. The thought of working a traditional schedule feels so distant and foreign. I don't know how I'm gonna react when I'm thrown back into it. I've gotten so used to not having it and it doesn't even feel like anything's missing. It just feels like this is how my life is and should be. I don't know, it's crazy. The one thing I will say though is I am always aware of my lack of income at the moment, and that has kind of been a bit of a storm cloud over my head. Definitely getting this sort of taste of this freedom and this time has made me feel all the more motivated to keep grinding on YouTube and my other income streams, side hustles, because I do want to get back to this place again. Ideally, being able to have the time freedom and the financial freedom that I want. Like, I can't even imagine how amazing it would be to have my time so my own and have money to like do all the experiences and things I want. Oh my God, I can't even imagine. Like, it sounds amazing. So it definitely has lit another fire under my butt, as if I didn't already have a fire under my butt. It has really shown me like, yeah, I could thrive like this. Like I've mentioned in the past, I'm pretty self-motivated. I think I'm pretty disciplined overall. I think I spend my time decently well. I know I would thrive being self-employed, and this is just confirmed. It feels amazing to be able to prioritize the things that I care about and put my all into creative projects without having to schedule around a giant task in my day. Not to mention my social life is thriving. I do think if I had more time, obviously I'm going back to work soon, but if I had more time, I would solidify a sort of schedule or routine for myself because I've kind of been in limbo, and that's been nice, but I don't think it would be nice long term. Like, I forget what day it is a lot now. And obviously I wasn't doing that with the job, right? I knew what day it was. So I do think in the future when I am self-employed, I'll need to put some sort of structure in place for myself, whether that's work hours I want to set for myself, or I don't know, just time blocking. Time blocking has been really helpful during this time where I don't have anyone holding me accountable. But yeah, I think the routine and structure, some routine and structure really can be good. And it's definitely something I would create for myself if I was doing this more long term, which I will in the future. This coffee is actually so good. I'm getting this every day from now on. How do you navigate the stress of starting a new job? How do you mentally prepare before and during that transition? I'm gonna base this off of how I kind of prepared myself going into my last position, because I definitely was intimidated and nervous and I didn't feel like I quite knew what I was doing, as we all do. Something that really helped me was kind of going into it with an attitude of blissful ignorance. I really tried not to think too much about it. I did not over prepare. I just kind of showed up and tried to do my very best every day. And that's what got me through the beginning of that role for sure. Focusing on just trying my best and not thinking too much about my performance or the impression I was making really kept me from just going crazy and spiraling into overthinking. I really tried to lower the bar for myself and just show up every day and see what happened, do my best. And that helped me a lot. I definitely think expecting awkwardness, moments of embarrassment, expecting that there's gonna be moments where you don't know how to do something and you have to really uncomfortably ask for help. All of that I think is important, because if you don't kind of leave your ego at the door in that way, you're just gonna be in a constant state of stress. So just know that you might feel like a fool for a bit and it might be awkward and embarrassing and there's gonna be growing pains, but as long as you're showing up and doing your very best, that's all you can do. And you can go to sleep with a good conscience knowing you showed up that day. Do you have a secret talent? If so, please show us. I so badly wish that I had something, but no. Let's jump into the YouTube related questions, because I got quite a few of those as well. When did you decide you wanted to be a content creator? Is it your goal to do it full time? The will to be a content creator or a YouTuber has been in the back of my mind probably since I was in high school, maybe even earlier. I was a YouTube fan and I loved watching YouTube. So of course I was fantasizing about being a creator. Of course I was practicing for my future Q&As in my bathroom mirror. I definitely was just like too nervous to start, didn't feel ready, didn't feel like I had anything to share. I did actually try to start a channel in college, but ultimately kind of chickened out, got embarrassed and deleted everything. Did not stick with it anywhere near long enough and felt like because I wasn't seeing instant results, I was failing. So I got freaked out and I deleted it. Obviously, part of me wishes I had stayed with it because I could have grown a lot further by this point, but I don't think I was ready in actuality. I think I started this channel at a good time. So I started this current channel at the end of college, like very, very end of college, right before I graduated. To answer the second question of do I want to do it full time? Yes, I would love to do YouTube full time. I do have other creative things that I could foresee pursuing down the line or at the same time, but as of right now, YouTube is the goal or dream that I'm most focused on, and I would love to be doing it full time. Sounds so fun. There's just so many reasons why I would love to have this as a job. The time flexibility, I think it's creatively fun and fulfilling. I love having a voice and feeling like I can talk about things that matter to me and impact people. That's one of the reasons why I love that my channel is focused on like personal development stuff, because it's meaningful to me to share that journey. I think the like business side of YouTube is so fascinating. So yes, I would love to do this full time. What keeps you motivated when you're feeling discouraged by analytics? Great question. It's hard sometimes. I will say the biggest thing for me is just keeping in mind the long-term vision, keeping in mind that like dream of being a full-time successful creator and really trying to stay focused on that even when the numbers are not lining up with it. Something else that really helps me is focusing on the little wins and the small growth, getting excited when I get 300 views instead of 200 views, like those little things, and seeing growth where it is happening, even if it's small and slow and steady. Definitely helps me stay encouraged. I celebrated 500 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers. I'm going to celebrate 2,000. Even though these numbers are small in the grand scheme of things, it helps me to stay motivated on the journey and to feel like I'm making progress, which I am making progress. Also, like when a video does bad and I'm feeling kind of crappy about it, I'll just ask myself like, am I proud of this video? Did I share something in this video that's meaningful? Did I improve some small part of my YouTube process? Did I show up as myself? Even if it wasn't a revolutionary video, like did I show up? Did I stay consistent? And if the answer to any of those questions is yes, then that video is still worthwhile and there's no reason for me to feel insecure about it. Also, always reminding myself, tenacity is everything. From like a spiritual manifestation standpoint, I tell myself like, okay, I need to prove to the universe, whatever, how serious I am about this goal and this vision. And if I give up at the slightest sign of discouragement, I'm never gonna make it. I'm never gonna prove that I deserve this. I just always remind myself like tenacity is the most important thing. That's the only way to become successful, is to stick with something for long enough to see those results. And so that helps me as well. What group of people are you most passionate about in terms of helping? I'm assuming they're talking about like helping through my content. That's how I'm interpreting the question. I've been thinking about this a lot. Hold on. I mentioned to you guys that I was working on this blowed up blueprint workbook thing for growing my YouTube. And one of the things that I asked you about was like your target audience. Who do you want to reach? And I definitely think my target audience in my mind is like probably like 18 to 30, like primarily people in their 20s who are really like dedicated to creating the best life possible for themselves. People with a growth mindset, people who want to show up and like become the best version of themselves. That's who I really want to reach. And I do feel like that's who I'm reaching, which is really cool. When I look at my demographics, it totally lines up with the people that I want to attract to my channel. So very happy about that. I guess I am my own target audience in the sense that I want to help people who are on a similar journey to me, where they're trying to stay optimistic and motivated and really go for it in a society that makes it kind of difficult to have that mindset. So I just want to like be an encouraging person who like helps to motivate you and hopefully encourage you to stick with whatever journey you're on towards becoming the best version of yourself and going after your dreams and all of that. And that's where the meaning comes for me with YouTube, is hoping to reach these people and like maybe give you a little push of encouragement or just like a good vibe. Is there anything you haven't done yet on your channel that you want to? A Q&A was a big thing for me to check off of that list, but I think generally I want to share more so the like nitty gritty of the process of me trying to work towards my goals a little bit more. Like I really want to bring you guys along each step working towards my dream dream life and document that process and the things that I'm learning, which I feel like I am doing, but I think I could go a little more personal with it, a little more in depth with it. For example, one of the videos I really want to work on, trying to start my freelance business from scratch and documenting that whole process of like finding clients and trying to build an income from it, and just sharing more things like that where I'm really taking you guys along for my journey. I also really want to keep trying to upgrade my videos in terms of just like a quality perspective. I've gotten really kind of fascinated with YouTubers who take more of like a film cinematic type approach to their videos, and I want to take a bit of a page from that book, try to make my videos a little artsier, I guess is the best way I can describe it. This isn't technically something I want to do on my channel, but podcast, I think about a podcast all the time, so that's definitely something that I want to do down the line. All right, I think I'm gonna end the questions there. This was so freaking fun. I feel like we just chatted and hung out, which was lovely. If I answered one of your questions, I hope you were satisfied with my answer. Even though I know that like 99.9% of the viewers on this video are going to be already subscribed, I'm going to do my spiel anyway. My name is Brielle. I make all sorts of content around life in my 20s, personal development, productivity. If any of that interests you, definitely subscribe. If you enjoy my content and want to buy me a coffee, all of my Ko-fi linked down below. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Go try this apple crisp macchiato thing. It's really good.